Are you recording this? See that? I am recording it because you reminded me. Thank you. I forgot to record one the other day and I felt terrible. Okay, welcome to the Renatus Success Roundtable. I am Bill Omi. I am one of the people in the group. Jeannie Powers is my mentor and she asked me to do a little presentation today. So, let's see. We are going to let's talk about real estate. Okay, real quickly, I've been 25 years as an engineer until I got laid off, 14 years as a real estate investor, the ripe old age of 53. I've completed 60 deals, I hold 40 rentals, all of them I do rent to own, and we're going to talk about rent to own. I live in the large county of Greene County, Georgia, population of 16,000. Structured and completed over 150 lease option deals. I found Renatus 16 months ago looking to learn more about real estate investing. I am looking to expand my business. I had outgrown my mentors. I didn't have anybody who could help me. So I was desperate for information because I see huge opportunity in what I do. But I also saw the marketing side of the Renatus business, and I've been concentrating on that for a while. So now that I'm certified, I have over 100 members on my team, and I am providing coaching, mentoring, and support nationwide for those 100 people. The community, guys, this is where you want to be. I get excellent support from all of my mentors. We have so many different events that I can't keep track of them all. Super Saturdays, impact webinars, even today's Success Roundtable. With the education, I completed my first wholesale deal within 1 month of enrolling in the essentials. I never did a wholesale deal. Who would have known? I didn't know what I didn't know. And I bought my first rental into an IRA with a nice tidy return on investment of 35% a year. And now my big thing is helping others change their financial trajectory. I really like that. And I have realized the wealth cycle between the marketing and the real estate investing. In my world, 3 combo sales equals another rental house. And rental houses are cool. They are really cool. I know all you fix and flip guys, but cool. Anyway, I want to increase my portfolio to hundreds, maybe thousands of properties. Okay, so the tricks I use to get to where I am aren't going to cut it if I'm going to have 1,000 properties. So that's why I joined Renatus. Okay, disclaimers. I'm a student. I'm not an instructor. So the strategies that I talk about today are not necessarily approved or taught by Renatus. They're just my success stories along with the education. So these are for educational purposes, and don't go out and do these things without either taking the classes and getting legal advice. Okay, so why should you listen to me real quick? Because I've been doing this for 14 years. I did not go bust in 2008. Okay, I'm one of, I think, 3 real estate people in the whole world that didn't go bust in 2008. Okay, I've made over $3 million in revenue on real estate, and $250,000 of that is in option fees, and we'll talk about that in a second. And my business model is growing like crazy since the crash, and it will survive the next crash. And the last thing, but most important thing, is I'm an honest guy. But I'm the first to tell you, I didn't know what I didn't know. So when I started taking the Renatus classes, I sort of sat there and said, holy crap, I did not know this stuff, even though I've been doing it for 14 years. Okay. Real quick, before we get to the real estate, because you guys got to pay attention to this. Even you staffers, you'll appreciate this. Let's talk about investing versus speculating. Okay, so we're going to do a little training here as well as little success stories. Investors, 1% of the world, they don't lose money. These speculators win some and lose often. So pay attention to which side of these columns you're operating on. I want you to be on the investor side, not on the speculator side. Investors understand and control investments. Speculators hope for a favorable outcome. They hope, hope, hope. Hope is a lousy business strategy. Hope is what everybody did until 2008, and it didn't work. Don't hope. Control, understand. The 1%ers are maximizing return on investments. Speculators hope to get a return on their investments. Investors make profits at the start of the deal. They make all their money at the beginning of the deal by structuring it properly. Speculators hope to cash out at some future date. Investors strive to eliminate risk. Speculators hope they get out before the risk happens. Investors have multiple exit strategies. Speculators hope their original plan works. Investors invest in intellectual capital first. Speculators already know it all. You guys know anybody like that who already knows it all? Uh-huh. How they doing? Investors create value, which then creates profits and wealth. Speculators live by the greater fool theory. There's always somebody who's going to buy their properties overpriced because there's a greater fool than themselves. There's an old saying, guys, when you're sitting at a poker table, if you don't know who the fool is, it's probably you. Actually, the sucker is. It's probably you. Okay? Greater fool theory is a lousy investment. How many years have I been with Renatus? I've been with Renatus 16 months. Okay, let's move on. Investors own the casino. Speculators gamble at the casino. Okay, I'm going to go through this. I don't think I have time to do all of this because I want to get to the real estate part. Let's do this. Let me fast forward through some of this. Why own? Okay, let's go to why own real estate. Okay, why do you guys want to own rental real estate? I told you this is the sexiest part of the business. Nobody believes me, but it is. Because out of the 4 levels of real estate investing, buy and hold is where you start getting passive income. Okay, if you've not had passive income in your life, you don't know what you're missing. Passive income is like a narcotic. It is wonderful. It makes you feel really good and there's no side effects. Okay, guys, in 2008, our friends on Wall Street pulled off a financial coup. They now privatize profits and socialize risk. Things have changed since 2008, whether you like it or not. We're now a rental nation. 80% of the population cannot qualify for a conforming mortgage. Do you know what that means to folks who are landlords and renting houses? It means a huge market. Everyone is searching for yield in a zero-rate environment. One of the last places to get yield is in rental real estate. And rental REITs are being created by the same firms that destroyed the real estate market. These guys are the ones buying up all the property now at 20 cents on the dollar and creating rentals out of them. Why is rental going to be good going forward? Because you have unfettered immigration. Housing will remain strong. You think there'll be more or less demand for housing if we have another financial crash? Government confiscation. No, I'm not a tinfoil hat person, but it is easier to grab IRAs and 401ks than it is to grab hard assets like real estate. If it comes down to it, you will wake up in the morning and the government will take your IRAs and your 401ks because it's a keystroke. It's much harder. You're better off having hard assets. You can control your wealth and your cash flow. You have control over your investments. You don't if you have stocks or bonds. You're relying on somebody else. You have huge counterparty risk. And as we get more subsidies in our society for the lower class, the subsidies become your rent. Disability, rent credits, SSI. My tenants can all afford to pay their rent now, for better or for worse. Okay, so now, why do we add options to rental real estate? First reason is cash flow. Second reason is more cash flow. The third reason is even more cash flow. You start to see a trend? Okay. Lease options are an incredible way to juice cash flow on rentals. And everything about rentals is cash flow, cash flow, cash flow. Guys, if you're buying properties solely based on appreciation, you are playing with fire. You're not only playing with fire, but you're playing with fire with 2 hands full of gasoline. Okay? Cash flow is reality. You can't go broke if you have cash flow. That's why it's so sexy. Much less property management. If you have a lease option, your tenants have ownership. They have a feeling of ownership. They're going to buy the properties. You create homeowners rather than tenants. You get to replace the banks and capture the profits for yourself. There's huge demand for rent to own versus standard rentals. Okay, I'll show you in a little presentation a little bit later. I get little side story. I just came back from renting out one of my houses. I put a rent-to-own ad in a county with 16,000 people. I had 44 calls in one weekend for a rent-to-own. Okay, which is it's our colloquial expression in Georgia for lease option. Okay. Insatiable demand for your product. The population is growing. Immigration is out of control. There's more and more people that need basic housing. You provide it, they will come. And the tax advantages are exceptional. Okay, guys, that's where you want to be. You want to be on the passive income side. You want to be on the capital gains side. You don't want to be on ordinary income. Passive income is the best form of income. That's why I keep telling you. And I love rentals. Not so fond of dealing with tenants, but that's what comes with rentals. So we learn to do it. Okay, what is a lease option? Look, guys, if you don't know, go study your AIT classes or get your AIT classes, and you'll learn all about lease options. I'm not going to explain it all here. But now, let's take a look at a house. Okay, all you people out there, let's take a look at two different houses. You have your house for rent. I have my house rent to own. Okay, you get X applicants. I get 5 times. Now, this is empirically proven by me. I get 5 times as many calls as the guy who gets one just for rent. Okay, you're going to rent it for $600 a month. I can rent mine for $725 a month. Okay, because people will pay me a premium because it's a rent-to-own deal. You're going to get a $1,000 deposit. I get $2,000 non-refundable option fee. Okay, again, this is a model here. It may work differently in your area, but this is Georgia, and we love Georgia. You probably put new carpet and paint in your rental house, and it cost you $2,000. My tenants rent the houses as is. They'll do all the carpet and paint because it's going to be their house. They're very happy. You guys might have put appliances in if you're just renting the house. My tenants buy their own appliances. In fact, sometimes when they leave the appliances for me to give to the next tenant. I don't put cash into my houses for appliances. Maintenance and repairs. Let's say you blow $400 for the year just fixing little things in the house. In a rent-to-own deal, the tenants do the repairs. So you don't cost you anything. Eviction fees, loss fees, so on and so forth. This is a little bit off the beaten path, but I am very conscientious about chasing garnishments and judgments. So I don't lose money on evictions. I actually make money on evictions. Late fees for rent credit. In my tenants, if they're late, that money, they're going to pay their late fees. Otherwise, they forfeit the rent-to-own deal. And every year, if they want to extend the option, they pay an extra $500 to roll it over. Now, let's look at cash flow here, guys. Traditional rental. These numbers here say you made $2,100 on your $30,000 investment for a NOI of 7%. In my world, it's 33%. Okay, you have annual debt service. We both have annual debt service, but in your case, it's $3,120. I'm not saying you, I'm saying a person who just does a rental. We have the same debt service. So the average landlord, guys, that doesn't have the Renatus classes, that isn't paying attention and not doing this for business, is losing money on his rentals. He's subsidizing his tenants' lifestyles. Okay, this is very common. I mean, I talk to landlords all the time who tell me how great they're doing until they add up the numbers and they realize they're losing money every year. Okay, even after debt service, the house on the right is 21% return, 23% return. It's actually infinite because you financed 100%. So you're making 23% on financed money. How many deals can you do on the left before you go broke? Okay, is that an investment or is that a speculation? Okay, I told you what investments and speculations were, right? How many deals on the right should you do? And the answer is as many as you can get your hands on. Okay, so I gave you this little tutorial. I know you're a little bit fast, but I want to show you one of my deals because in success webinars, we show successes, right? Okay, using this model. Oh, we're going to manage tenants. Let me see if I really want to go through that because it's going to take some time. You guys can, blah, 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 blah. I may come back to that. because this isn't important for the deal. So let me get through that. Okay, so now, hey Bill, but show me one that you really did. Okay, this is a little 4-bedroom, 2-bath mobile home, and I'm going to tell you why I love mobile homes. We have them all over in the South. Guys, if you live in the Southeast, you are sitting on a gold mine and you don't know it. Okay, so this was Taylor Bean and Whitaker REO, listed for $69,900. They had foreclosed on this property, guys, for $105,000. They had financed $105,000 on this property when everyone was insane back in 2007. 4-bedroom, 3-bath, excuse me. 2,100 square feet, built in 2005, 1 acre of land. It's been sitting there vacant for 3 years. My tenant called me. I have a whole army of people out there looking for their own rent-to-own houses. Okay, all the folks that don't get to rent my houses, I say, listen, if you find me a really good deal, I'll do a rent-to-own deal with you. Just go find me a property. So I have an army of people running around trying to get their own properties. Talk about bird dogs, right? So I purchased this property for $14,700 because a tenant called me up and said, hey, they just dropped the price to $19,900. They dropped the price from $69,900 to $19,900. And I still got it for $14,700 because I'm cheap. So the purchase price is $14,700. I got a $2,000 option before closing. This tenant who wanted this property said, I'll give you $2,000 up front before you even close because I want the property. So my cost basis is $12,700. The rent was $525 a month. The annual option fee renewal every year, if she wants it renewed, it's $500. Okay, for a grand total on the first year of $5,750. So guys, I'm talking about $5,750 made on $12,700 invested. That's 45.2%. Do you see why I say this is the sexiest type of real estate? Now, the annual debt service, if I borrowed the $12,700, which I did at 10%, was $1,000. What was the interest rate? Interest is $1,270 a month. So even after subtracting out the debt service, the annual profit was $4,480. Again, $4,480 on borrowed money. It's infinite return. Okay. The purchase price on the option, the fair market value was $59,900. So I bought a piece of property for $14,700 that was worth $59,900 according to any appraisal. I gave the tenant the purchase option price of $39,900, which is still way below the fair market value. In my world, and this doesn't work in all states, but I credited all their rent towards purchase. My first tenant rented the property for 30 months, so I collected $13,440, and the tenant walks away from the deal after 30 months. Says, no, Bill, I'm leaving. I want to go live with my mom up in Ohio. I said, you sure you don't want to buy the property to exercise the option? Nope. See ya. Bye. I re-rented that house in 48 hours, increased the rent up to $595, collected another $1,000 option fee, and raised the purchase price to $59,900. Do you see how this is different than renting out your dad's house? So I'm making $6,000 a year in pure profit. I'm making almost 50% a year on this house. It's like a little ATM machine. If the tenant stays and buys the house, do I win? If the tenant walks away from the deal, do I win? Notice the difference between speculating and investing? This is an investment. Okay, I hope you all go away from this meeting sort of shaking your heads, maybe a little bit mind-blowing, because I don't think there's not many people out there that push the envelope as much as we do at Renatus, and I do in particularly on rental houses. It is all about cash flow, guys. But you don't realize how much cash flow you can get out of houses. And therefore, I tell people, I love mobile homes. There are so many mobile homes that come up for foreclosure because people buy these things for $100,000, these home package deals, and they shouldn't be buying them anyway because they're not going to be able to keep them. They lose them, and you buy them as an REO. And this thing had a fireplace and a Roman tub. I mean, a 2,100 square foot mobile home. Most people don't have 2,100 square foot homes. Okay, so let's look. I want you to think a little differently when you're thinking about buy and hold. Okay, I want you to stretch your mind and I want you to constantly think how to bring more and more profit, less and less risk, and more cash flow. Okay? What's your highest value? Your highest value is not landlord. Your highest value is negotiator, deal maker, and financier. Landlord has lousy profit margins. Okay, I just showed you the house on the left where he's actually losing money. That landlord is he's not only not making money, he's losing money. The only thing he's hoping for is appreciation. What happens if his house doesn't appreciate? He is wasting his time, wasting his money, and very likely going to lose that place. Don't do that. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to learn to purchase and control assets at the deepest discount possible. That's where your value is. You have an inefficient market in real estate. That means you can buy properties at deep discounts to their fair market value. That is really good. Learn how to take advantage of an inefficient market. Okay, that's why real estate is so powerful. Now, the converse of that is if you're not smart, you can overpay for real estate. But you're not going to do that because you're going to get really educated and you're going to learn how to find these assets at pennies on a dollar. Okay, create maximum value for your customer. You get wealthy in this country by first creating value and then you monetize the value. So you're going to become a student of your business, whether you're doing fixes and flips or whether you're doing buy and hold or whether you're doing tax notes and liens and deeds and seller financing, whatever it is. First, become a student of that business. And then know your customers, because your value is in the eyes of your customers. Okay? It's not what you think is valuable, it's what your customers think are valuable. In my case, it's what my tenants think are valuable. I have to think like my tenants. I know what my tenants are going to do before they do it. That's how well I've worked on my business plan. And now, structure incredibly high value deals. Okay? In my world, locating, funding, and purchasing and controlling property, providing lease option packages to tenants, and maintaining multiple exit strategies. You always want to have multiple exit strategies. Again, you're not hoping that what you do is going to work out. You have multiple plans. And become an investment manager, not a property manager. Property manager has like zero margins. Investment managers, like the guys on Wall Street, are making obscene amounts of money because they're investment managers. And you can be an investment manager in something as simple as buy and hold real estate. Okay, it's how you structure your model. And the saying is, you make all of your money on day one. You make all of your money by structuring your deal. Okay, if you don't make a good deal up front, you can't make it back in the execution phase. It will always be a lousy deal. So in real estate, you make all of your money on day one. You just realize that money at the end of the deal. And you're going to constantly improve your model. Learn, do, review, adjust. Okay? Now, people say, oh, Bill, it's only one example. Hey, guys, this was an unsolicited wholesaler who sent me this from Atlanta, and these guys do this all day long. Here's a little house, $26,000, okay? Maybe $8,000 to $10,000 in repairs. I bet you can do better than that. Rental income, $725 to $850 a month. Okay, this is another, I don't know, let's say you have 35 invested in it and you have $800 a month. You're probably talking 25 to 30% a year cash flow on a little rental house, okay, in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, if we have a crash, do you think there'll be more or less people looking for basic housing? Do you think all the guys that lost their $1,500 mortgages on their bigger houses are going to be coming down and saying, hey, I need that $800 a month deal because I need to put a roof over my family's head? Okay? Investors don't hope for the best. Investors put together business models that hopefully are bulletproof. And I could get into that, but I don't want to get into a bulletproof business model right now because we don't have time. Okay, so that was my webinar. I might have gone a little bit fast, but I wanted to make sure I got it all in for you guys. The point of this is I wanted to show you a business model by an investor, just me, just a guy, but I want you to be thinking. I want you to understand that the intellectual effort pays off in spades, okay? It pays off big time. You're not buying little houses. What you're doing is you're structuring deals. You're creating value. Okay, you're creating value for everybody around. You're helping out the bank that has an REO they have to get rid of. Do they benefit? Yes. The community, which would have had a vacant house with drug dealers running it, and you now have a productive family living in that house. Does the community benefit? Yes. Does the tax base go up because of what you did? Yes. Do the people who rent those houses with the possibility of buying them, where they don't have any other option to do that, except because you've gotten smart, you've taken your classes, you've studied your business, do they benefit? Yes. And you, as the investor trying to allocate capital, both financial capital and intellectual capital, do you benefit? Yes. That's how you get wealthy. Any questions? Let's see. Does Agenda 21 concern any of you? What does it change and where to buy? What is give me a hint. I've heard of Agenda 21. I don't remember what it's all about. Could show your case one slide again. Oh yeah, let me show my case one slide again. Hold on a second. Find out where I am. Case one slide. Oh, okay, let's show all of it though. And then I'll answer the Agenda 21. Is that like Area 51? Is that like aliens coming down to Earth? You could show your case one slide. The government wants to put all people in stack and pack housing on train lines. Ownership. Okay. Okay. I thought I was a conspiracy theorist. I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about Agenda 51. Agenda 21. Okay. But there is something called Frank Dodd, guys. There's a Frank Dodd rule, which Frank Dodd affects owner financing. Okay, so you have to be careful when you're going to do owner financing that you don't run afoul of the Frank Dodd laws. And I'll give Dodd-Frank rule. And I'll give you an example. Dodd-Frank requires the seller, which would be you, to make sure that the person actually qualifies for that mortgage. So you basically have to be like a mortgage broker and document all of the reasons why you made that financial loan to that person, because if they default, the government's going to ask you to show that they were worthy of that loan. So now the burden of proof falls onto you, okay? So you better, if you're going to do owner financing, which I don't like to do owner financing, you want to take your classes. You want to learn how these new laws affect you. You want to learn how lead-based paint rules affect you. You want to learn how asbestos affects you, mold, all of those hazards, because it's going to matter. You want to make sure you have a handle on this, because it is going to affect your business. Lynn, all part of UN's agenda for keeping Americans from... Okay, I don't know. Oh, I don't know anything about a carbon footprint. All I know is everybody needs a roof over their head. Okay, whether they're crazy people, conspiracy theorists, or what, they all need to go home at night and sleep under a roof. So in my world, all my houses have very good roofs on them, and they have doors that lock. Okay, and that's really important. Any other questions? Might be worth learning more about it to protect yourself. Maybe. I will pay attention. Agenda 21. I'll have to Google it when I get done. Any other questions? All you staffers, some of you guys have heard me talk about this crazy stuff. Okay? Great info. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Okay, guys, so the moral of the story is get back with the people that brought you here. and continue on with your Renatus due diligence. And you're going to want to take these classes and work with this community, because if you're going to do this, if you're going to have a career change, if you're going to do this for a lifetime, you want to know what you're doing. You don't want to be a brain surgeon without taking the classes. Okay? So we'll see you same time next week, and thank you for reminding to record it, and it's been a pleasure. So good night.